Chapter 14 will discuss the classical era as far as vocal music is concerned. Now, vocal music was not as popular in this period of time as instrumental music was. We will be looking at the vocal pieces from various composers. However, each of these composers is more well known for their instrumental contributions. This includes Haydn, whose operas are not as prominently known today. However, he did compose several masses and oratorios, which are still performed. In this chapter, we will be discussing three different genres of classical opera. That includes opera seria, which means serious opera, more dramatic in plot. Opera buffa, which is comic opera, right? Opera that had a bit of comedy in it, more of a light-hearted, entertaining nature. And Singspiel, which is like opera buffa, a comedic opera, but was sung in German. Another aspect that made Singspiel stand out is that it did include some spoken dialogue rather than being sung the entire performance. Now, attending an opera in the classical era is slightly different from attending one today. Operas are still being performed today, but there are differences in the performance. In the classical era, most of the operas were sung in Italian. There were some that were sung in the language of the region. However, Italian was the prominent language of that particular medium. And those particular operas were usually very well known, and those who went to watch the performances usually had prior knowledge of the plot and the performance. Today, operas are still performed in the language that they were composed in. However, there are translations that are given to the audiences while the performance is going on, usually on a screen that is right above the stage. Audience members, if they don't know the plot of that particular opera, can still read about it in the program that they're given before the performance. If you are familiar with musical theater at all, you know about this particular slide, the way that operas are divided up into sections. There are larger sections called acts, which are usually approximately an hour long, and they are broken up into scenes, which are shorter sections of the acts, no intermissions between those scenes, and they usually involve different locations that are being depicted in the plot. The Marriage of Figaro is a prominent opera buffa that we will be discussing in this particular chapter. On these various slides, you will be learning about the cast of characters as well as the plot of the opera. You'll read more about it in your textbooks. The first musical example is I Don't Know Who I Am Anymore, which is sung by the character Cherubino. You can listen to the various sections of the piece, and as you listen, this is the translation of the lyrics. The second and final listening example from The Marriage of Figaro is sung by the character Figaro, and it is called No More Will You. This is the translation for the A and the B section of the aria, and the translation of the C section. That concludes the lecture for chapter 14.